Let's go.
Bolt Bros in the house.
Is done. 2025. Done. D-U-N.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, we got plenty to talk about, guys. I'll tell you right now, and just first thoughts, I can't even believe how in sync I was with Joe Ortiz and the entire group, man. I actually think, I'm going to say this, they did better than my mock draft by a long shot. By 100% long shot.
I think I did better than all of our mock drafts because we got nothing right by any.
I was about to say, it's like, hang on a sec, bro. You're thinking you're the same page as them, but like we didn't get a single person.
I'm on that level. That's right. But what I'm saying is, like, bottom line, man, like, I also feel like I was in the same brain. I'm in their brain. Like, I know exactly what they're doing. Their first 4 picks were incredible. So I just think, man, I got so much I could talk about on this video, man. It's going to be good stuff. Chef Ortiz is cooking.
Chef Ortiz is cooking in the kitchen. Look at that, dude. He was killing it. He was killing it. But very good draft. We're excited about the 2025 draft picks. We also just going to kind of briefly, and I know you guys have seen it before. Maybe you've seen it already. There's 19 undrafted free agents that they did pick up also too. So we're not going to talk too heavily about it, but we'll just kind of show you guys the list and talk about one individual player that I thought is a real interesting story.
So interesting story going into the that's awesome.
Yeah. So plenty to talk about, guys. Let's get into it.
What's up, Premier, man? You watching the Boat Bros podcast. Stay tuned.
Charter blue dreams, stadium lights gleam. Boat Bros on the beat, lead stream. Chargers rocking speeds, Sonic Supreme. From the podcast to the field, we're a team. Charged up, Boat Bros on the night. LA Thunder in electric delight. Bolts in the battle, sparking bright. Charged up, ride the lightning, feel the fright.
Woo. Okay. So awesome. We got quite a few people coming up here, guys. Oh my goodness, guys, there's so much to break down on this, man.
It's crazy.
It's gonna be great. Okay, well, and we already got somebody talking about undrafted free agents. Here we go. All right, well, we'll give you a brief little teaser. So
yeah. Well, and that's an interesting player, Raheem Sanders, too, in a lot of different ways. We're actually going to talk about one other player, though, too, that just kind of became breaking news a little bit, too. And so,
breaking news.
You guys see it.
See if I can get one of those.
Yep. Pretty good stuff. But, yeah, we got some good stuff going on here, guys. And to be honest, I'd love to be able to hear your guys' grades of the draft. In that, too. From A to F, where are you at? A to F.
That's a little different than breaking news.
I know, but I was like, this one works. It works, yeah.
Close enough. But
that's funny.
Bottom line, Chef Ortiz was cooking, man. He was cooking, dude. And so we were excited about it. And once again, competitors welcome. Some of these guys out there will be, trying to push to get playing time. I mean, bottom line, this is really the second draft that you're going to get the Harbaugh Ortiz era now of the players that they're looking for. Like size-wise, stature-wise, skill set-wise. It's going to be awesome, guys. And I feel like they hit a home run with this draft.
One thing I will say, too, and guys, put your grade in the chat as well. I'll give it an A. Heck, I might even give it an A+, dude. I'll tell you, maybe an A+.
I think DJ VG's got it. A bolt.
Yeah.
Bolt. Yeah.
Crazy thing is, I was looking at the sizes of every single person drafted. Huge. They were over 6 feet.
Yeah.
Over 6 feet. They were the smallest guy was 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So they did not get small dudes, man. And so I just thought that was kind of an interesting situation. And I think the guy from the second wide receiver we got might be pushing Darius Davis as well in special teams. So, little tidbit, little appetizer.
I'll say this,
there, dude. Yep.
So
B+ from H4, pretty good.
That's really good.
That's a great score from him because he's mostly negative a lot of times.
So you are pessimistic, H4. Okay, but
I get it. I understand why. But I was gonna say too. It's like I noticed the trend for these draft picks. It was that like all of them were about on average an 8.5 or higher on the RAS scores overall.
Yep.
Like, the only one that didn't really have a great RAS score was Caldwell. And so that was, it's kind of just an outlier, but they saw everything else about him, and that's what, they liked. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Matthew, there is actually some help with the cornerback room. I think there is a couple. You got to look at some of the picks a little differently and deep dive a little bit into those players.
We'll talk about that.
So we'll talk about that in this draft. And I, to be honest, I think they did a good job with the defensive line already in free agency.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that too. I agree with that 100%.
Yep.
We got a lot that we could keep talking about because there's so much to talk about.
We are going to load your brain with information.
Yep.
You guys better be ready. I tell you what, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready.
I don't think you're ready.
I think they're going to be ready for the clown show.
Yeah.
Clown show,
that could be our theme song, guys. I like it.
We may have to change it for this upcoming year. That's our thing. Yeah. We'll make our introduction based off that sound right there.
That's so funny. I love it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But yeah, I'm excited about this draft. It's really, really good stuff all around. And yeah, Keandre Smith with that 4.37 speed, it's going to be big for this team. So I did want to just jump into one player, and I know we're going to show the list of all of the undrafted free agents very briefly. We have not jumped into them at all. We're hoping to be able to do videos on all of them. But one guy in particular that just popped up on the radar is this guy right here. Yeah, we are a basketball podcast from now on, board. So we are first news, breaking news, Mississippi State Bros or Basketball Bros is the name of our podcast now.
That's right.
But no, seriously. Moving on up. We're moving on up. But this guy right here is interesting. He just signed as a tackle for this team. Yeah. And that is Jimmy Bell Jr. from Mississippi State. 6'9", 330 pound.
Crazy, right?
Crazy. Holy smokes. And what's crazy to me is that I was thinking, has he played football at all? Has he done anything at all? From what I found out, he was actually going to start practicing with Mississippi State as a football player, obviously as a tackle. And then he ends up, basically getting drafted or at least picked up by the Chargers to be able to be on the team right now. And so obviously that size is massive. This whole draft is about size in a lot of different ways. Big bully ball kind of guys that are just out there to be able to just rough up everybody. Think about if you have another 6'9" player that could potentially play tackle for this team too. Continuity of like say Joe Alt and then Rashawn Slater and everything too. This is a guy I'm keeping an eye on out of the undrafted free agents because I'm interested to see what he could do year one as an NFL player. So
this is just further proof for me that we can put our name on the draft. And we might get drafted. We just might get that call.
You never know.
But I'll say this though: in order for us to be 6'9", I think we need to have all three of us stacked on each other's shoulders. So
it's exactly right.
Yeah, so exactly it's gonna, we'll be like that. That cartoon situation where like Andy will be the base. He's he's the strongest one. So
that's right.
I'll be in the middle, and then James can be on the side because he's got the hands.
We'll have the big trench coat around.
Yeah. Well, you
always gotta wear a big trench coat around you like that.
It's gonna be the shoulder pads, and then it's gonna be really big jersey, so like and then there'll be a little eye holes, whatever, for like for Andy and me.
So good.
We just might have to try that anyways, just because
that would be pretty good. Yeah, let's walk into the bowl. You got open tryouts, right? And we're all us three like,
they're like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, we're gonna try that.
The best.
Come on, Harbaugh. Come on, Harbaugh. Put me in, coach. What are we talking about here? I got skills.
And Charles, his name is Jimmy Bell Jr. is his name. So keep an eye out on him. Tall dude. Just once again, a guy that's going to be an absolute interesting story to see how it develops. Once again, this is how Antonio Gates started. Basketball player, transitioned to tight end, became basically a Hall of Famer. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but once again, the story has been created for him.
Yeah, but a big guy like that, just put on a little more weight, get a little more physical, understand his hips. He already knows how to work his hips and stuff. He played basketball.
Exactly.
He's big part of that conversation. It's all in the hips, baby.
It's all in the hips.
It's all in the hips.
All in the hips.
So Brian, thank you for the
yes. Let's go.
Yeah. Raheem Sanders. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, I will say this just broadly, we're going to see a lot of people cut that we don't want to see cut. And there is a lot of people going for a very select group of positions on this team.
Yep. Big time.
So anyway, just saying that, I think a lot of us are going to be kind of shocked with some of the cuts we start seeing moving forward.
Big time. I mean, and just to say to Brian's point, Raheem Sanders, or Rocket is what they end up calling him. He's like 6'3", 230 something pounds, I believe it was, or something like that. He's a game cutter. Yeah, he's a massive, massive dude. Like, he reminded me a lot of Gus Edwards in a weird way. Like the way that he plays and everything, just maybe a little bit faster. I mean, Gus Edwards had kind of a bad season last year, in my opinion. But once again, adding size to a running back room, we're not looking at these like shorter type running backs and everything. We want bigger guys all around. So once again, we want to play bully ball, right?
Yep.
Size is a big part of that bully ball. The bully is always bigger than the little dweeb they're sitting there pounded on, right?
Yeah, well, the ladies, everyone knows that size matters. That's right, guys. Come on, guys. Size matters.
I wasn't trying to go down that road, but I know it was around that area,
Yeah, so I think this week we'll probably talk about these guys quite a bit. We'll do some more work on them, right? We want to at least give you guys good content. We don't want
to
speak out,
Yeah, we don't want to rush into all that stuff, and so we want to give you guys honest analysis about it. Speaking of, obviously this is a lot of players. We're gonna do shorts on them, or do you want to do it by groups? I don't know. How do you want to do this thing?
We can do short videos on each of them.
Yeah,
we'll bleed them out. We may as well, and then we'll do a recap next Sunday.
For sure.
So.
That sounds like a great idea. All right.
Hey, if I want to hear your grade on the draft, by the way, too. So give me an A to an F. Basically, what do you want to grade it as? But once again, I think with the addition of Jimmy Bell Jr. and adding basically these free agents, we are currently at about 92 players, I believe, on the squad right now. You can only have 90, obviously, but once again, we'll see where it all develops, and this could be an ever-changing list all around. So,
90.
Yep.
Yeah. So, that's a really good point. Yeah, we can only have 90. So interesting.
So interesting to see where this all develops and everything for this team.
It's going to be like one of those reality TV shows. They'll have all these guys will have they'll throw a weapon in a ring. Okay. The first two to die, you're out.
Well, right? I mean, I remember the story. It was Richard Sherman talking about it when Jim Harbaugh was the head coach at Stanford, and how he would have, say, a cornerback against a lineman, and the cornerback has to go get the lineman's sock off of his foot. And so they would do that essentially to be able to try to say, hey, I want to show I want to see your competition. And if you win, you get field time basically at that point. So, that's what they're going to do. Instead of the weapon type thing, get the sock off the old lineman's, foot and see if you can play. Let's do that competitive nature. Let's go.
Remove his sock. Yeah. So, Daniel, thank you so much. Well, that's a little loud. Holy smokes!
It's a fight. That was a fight right there.
Oh, it sounded like clowns fighting there. Okay,
it was. Yeah, that's what's going on.
It's called clown fight. All right. By the way, I thought we were going to get Jack Sawyer. By the way, we were a little.
I know.
2 picks away.
2 picks away.
2 picks away.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk more about that as well. But anyways, I think there's lots to talk about though. So, I know you got some more slides there, James.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, obviously, and once again, Daniel, dude, I think a lot of people are pretty amped about this draft and everything too. All around a very, very good draft. And I also was going to say one thing too. Pappy went to basically the season ticket, draft party and everything. And it was really cool to be able to see that they had a lot of connections with all the players. They were able to chat with them and everything too. I thought it would have been awesome if we were there and we were able to even get an Omarion Hampton intro already for our video through that party. That would have been awesome to be able to see. But either which way, man, exciting stuff all around. Love to be able to see it. Great draft all around, Daniel. So, man, we love this draft. We feel very good about this draft going into 2025. So let's go ahead and get the party started with the draft picks here. And obviously, let's start from the top. Omarion Hampton, running back, University of North Carolina, pick 22. I mean, go back to that bully ball conversation, right? You know, now we got another running back who is a guy that it can be an absolute bully. You have Najee Harris, who a big physical back. You have Omarion Hampton, another big physical back, a younger back now too that you could grow with this team. Now it would be interesting to see if Najee Harris has a lights out year and then we end up signing him again and we have basically them back for a couple more years and they could just be that 1-2 punch from this point on. I'm excited about this pick, and I think what's great about this pick is the connections of Natron means too.
Yes,
that's what's so amazing about this pick. And Omarion Hampton, honestly, great looking back all around, strong physical back. He's tough to put down on the ground too. Fights through tackles, gets that extra yardage type stuff. So great stuff.
Here's a conversation for you there, James. Your baby.
Oh, my baby. Athir, grade A plus. James, my baby. What did I say after the Super Bowl destination? SF, my GM, so meaning in San Francisco, basically. My GM said, did not help Herbie guess what he cooked with weapons. AFC, we coming for that ass, baby. Let's go. SF, get ready. February 2026, actually, not 2025, 2026 is
26. That's right.
Happen.
That's right.
So, yeah, no, and thanks for the super chat. I mean, once again, like, very physical, big bully ball players that we got. And that's what you want to see with this team. And that's what Harbaugh wants from his players. And you got two extremely strong, if we're going to stick just to the Omarion Hampton pick, fantastic pick, in my opinion. And to be honest, the tier from Ashton Genty to Omarion Hampton, I don't think is that far off from each other, in my opinion. And I do feel like I think we got a real strong back that we could grow with, and the philosophy of Harbaugh, physicality, could grow with Omarion Hampton. So I'm excited about it, man.
So I think Mel Kiper said it best. He says, "I would never draft a running back in the first round," and I think there's some arguments to be said that it's, especially in a running back heavy draft, is this a bit of a stretch? Now you have to really know that he is a home run hitter for you to get him in the first round, in my opinion, because there is a ton of people that you could have gotten. And really, here's I think the differentiator from Omarion Hampton from Genty's 5'8".
Yep.
Hampton is much bigger. And so they want big bodies, man. And you can say whatever you want to say about production and whatever, but Hampton fits more the mold of what the Chargers want to do moving forward, right? And he catches the ball well. His pass protection is incredible. He is going to keep Herbert clean. Yeah. And I think it's a big reason why they signed him as well, too. I mean, it's not just about running the ball all the time, guys. It's also about, keeping Herbert upright. So,
I mean, the fact is that Hampton, honestly, I would say this. I think Hampton is actually truly the number one running back of the draft. And so getting him at 22, I think was an absolute steal. And I absolutely disagree with Mel Kiper about that. It's like, I get why he would say not to get a running back in the first round, because you got to realize too that it's a money game too when it comes to the first round pick. You know, like you want to get someone at a cheap discount, and running back for a dime a dozen right now. So because they don't get that big of contracts compared to wide receivers, compared to cornerbacks, compared to and quarterbacks, you know, and even edge rushers and stuff like that, you know. But I think having a stud running back is going to be huge for this offense, because what are we? We're a run first offense now, you know. Like if we can get 5 yards in the first two downs, then we're great, you know. Not between the first two downs, you know, but like a run 5 yards per carry, whatever, that'd be amazing. You're good, you know. Just we'll control the ball, run the clock.
One thing I would also say, our last thought on Hampton, is that the offense for North Carolina wasn't great.
Nope.
He was pretty much the offense.
Yep.
And they rode him like Seabiscuit, to say the least. And so again, that means stacked boxes, right? So and you got 8 men in the box, 7 men in the box, and he still was able to be productive. So anyways, it's one of those situations where you say, okay, fine. And also Hampton's going to be the long-term solution over Najee. Najee's got 1 year. Hampton can learn from him, learn how to be an NFL running back, move forward. He's our guy moving forward. So big take.
But it's interesting too, because you could also say the same thing about Najee Harris with the Steelers too. I mean, he did not really have a quarterback since he was there. He was going up against a lot of stacked boxes and everything too. Still produced.
They don't have a quarterback.
And they still don't have a quarterback, which is
they got Howard. They got Howard from I think he'll be better than expected. Yeah.
Hey, he just won a national championship, and I was going to say one thing too. Think about last year's draft. Remember when we ended up getting Joe Alt at pick 5 and people were like, oh, wow, tackle at 5, which, is obviously a tackle is a very catalyst position and necessity position for your quarterback to stay upright. And then you end up going and get Ladd McConkey at, second round, trade up to be able to basically get to him and stuff too. And people talked about the flip side of like, well, what if you end up going with Malik Neighbors at 5, what would you be able to get as a tackle in round 2? It diminishes the talent quite a bit at that point.
Yeah, big time.
So, and I think what the Chargers' mentality and thought is like, hey, look, you're going to get the running back that potentially could be the guy. Like, once again, Daniel Saucedo's right here. Hot take. Hampton may be better than Genty kind of thing. And it's just, Genty was like this shiny, enamored kind of guy that you're like, wow, this guy is just absolutely crushing it. But maybe we're getting that guy that really fits what our needs is. Yeah. And then we're able to go into round 2 and get a very solid player too. If we just switch positions and went high on wide receiver, at that point, there really wasn't any wide receiver other position. It's about just getting the right value for your pick. And I feel like we got our right values for what our needs were for our team. So,
I would say this too, the top 4 picks that we got, I wanted all 4 of those positions.
Yep.
And it kind of didn't matter to me in the order specifically, but I felt like those are the 4 positions we needed to fill.
Yep.
And so that's where I guess that's what I was kind of getting at the very beginning. I didn't say it the best way. I felt like those were our biggest 4 needs. And kind of depending on how the board went is where they went with. And I really think Omarion Hampton at least is the guy moving forward that can run the ball the way Harbaugh wants him to. Again, Genty's very good. Don't get me wrong.
Very good.
But I really, truly believe Omarion Hampton is more the hammer, which is really what I think Harbaugh wants. Like a harder body.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, we talked about Omarion Hampton like crazy. Yeah.
More physical for sure.
Interesting, because Mark Davis in the chat, who I don't know if it's Mark Davis from the grave, but he says, well, I guess you'll get to see Bowers Genty twice a year.
Quite true. Quite true.
I will say, we talked about it during the draft. We said, hey, I think the Raiders finally got adults in the room now because they're making the right choices. And they drafted very well.
Very good.
Well. Yeah. And I mean, once again, this division is going to beat each other up. And it's not like we're that far off now. I think all the teams in the division are not that far off from basically finding a way to beat the Chiefs and dethrone them essentially at this point. Like, I think they're very, very close. So once again, this division is going to be very difficult. So I'm excited to see where it ends up going with this team. And, obviously all the teams in the division.
I felt like this draft also made more sense. I think, like I said, they picked the right players, the right mix of players. But it also, again, I'll give one little glaring overview, is that they didn't draft as many offensive linemen as I did in my mock draft.
Yep.
That just says that they are very happy with the people they brought in on free agency, right?
Yeah.
Like Beckton, Andre James. That room is stacked. And I think they're even probably okay trading somebody off if somebody gives a good deal, right? So as trade bait. So anyways, I'm pretty happy with the way that this all played out across the board.
I know we're trying to move on and we'll move on to it, but like if you look at tier 2 of a player that would be like a Omarion Hampton, who I would say Caleb Johnson from Iowa would be that guy. And that guy got picked up in, I think, the 3rd round, I believe, too.
He's good. Very good.
Do you feel good about the Omarion Hampton pick, or do you feel like about the Caleb Johnson pick if you were to go whichever way? I feel like very good about the Omarion Hampton pick, in my opinion. So
yeah, and to your point, and it's getting back to what I was saying, is that, well, do you get an edge rusher first and then get a running back second, or do you get a tight end third? You're almost splitting hairs at that point, right? Yep. Like, it's the same. You're still getting the same positions, but which are you valuing above the other position or player wise, right? So I guess that's what I was trying to get at. I'm not saying it exactly the correct way, but
close enough.
Well, but again, those positions need to be filled.
I mean, I looked at our board, and we were all kind of in agreement on that. Like the first 4 picks, we all wanted about the same thing. defensive tackle, running back, edge, wide receiver. That's what we wanted. You know? And they kind of stick with it. So, but I'm just gonna kind of gloat about this a little bit. I'm still the only one that got any one pick in the entire draft correct. So
that's right. But we need to put an asterisk next to that because you picked him in the second round.
Hey,
there's no way.
I still got it. 55. I still got him. I still got him, baby.
Gosh.
Hey,
oh my gosh.
Hey, I didn't cheat, man. Yeah, I had 2 different drafts going. And I just picked the best of those ones in that situation. So,
that is true. That is true.
Here we go. Here we go.
And once again, to Kyle's point here, Bolt fam telling us to draft a wide receiver, Chargers social media is getting beat down by a guitar. And that's the whole offseason talk. You think about the whole T. Higgins situation. We want to get him. Oh, Devontae Adams. All right, get Keenan Allen. Good. It was like, go get Garrett Wilson, all these like random talk, Tyreek Hill. Well, obviously they heard. And what they ended up doing was they ended up going with round 2 pick 55, Trey Harris from University of Mississippi.
Yep.
And, look, like this pick, man, I remember seeing a lot of people mocking the draft with him. And I never really looked too heavily into him, but initially, my thoughts of it is like, oh, he could be kind of like a Mike Williams kind of guy. He has the ability, kind of big body kind of guy. The more I look at it, dude, I swear I'm watching a copycat. And maybe I'm crazy to say this, but I really feel like it looks like T. Higgins to me. And what's crazy to me is that his speed is just about the exact same 40 as T. Higgins too. I want to say it might be even the same round T. Higgins was initially drafted. Maybe I'm wrong on that one too, but outside of that, I just kept thinking this dude looks like T. Higgins to me. Like we got our T. Higgins without even trading for T. Higgins, essentially.
Yep.
So
I'm going to make one thing going back to what you said. You said, why didn't we go get, a wide receiver in free agency? I'm going to tell you guys something you're not going to want to hear. I don't think we're going to go spend top dollar on anyone in free agency for the most part.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We're not going to do it. We're going to build in the draft. We're going to get veterans in free agency that are cheap, filling gaps. And then we're going to try and scout young players like this to cheaper contracts that we can grow. It's kind of like it's just Moneyball. It's an easier way of getting younger talent. But okay, and I say that also because I think our team was good. We just added more to it, and another 19 people in undrafted free agents. Yeah. Competitors welcome, guys. They don't care who plays the best football. That's what they want. So
100%. 100%. And I think maybe maybe down the road, they might decide, hey, look, okay, we can't get a guy in a draft for this position, but we could get this premium guy. But right now, they're building the team what Harbaugh and Ortiz wants at this point.
Yeah. And to your point, premium guy, Mekhi Becton, Najee Harris, right?
Yep.
Not huge contracts, but good contracts.
Exactly. And I'm good with that. Like, I'm good with that. Don't overspend. Think about how many times we always have spent so much money on players. Let's say David Boston back in the days. Think about that pick. Ooh, boy. Didn't go over well for us. I mean,
Boston. Wow.
Yeah.
That is way back in the days. Wow.
Yeah. So you throw a lot of money at a guy expecting him to basically get you to a Super Bowl. And sometimes that doesn't work. How about you get a bunch of hungry young guys that are out there making things happen? And then, if they walk in free agency, Joe Ortiz talked about it. He loves comp picks, right? No problem letting people walk if they want to get paid a bunch of money. Think about the New England Patriots, too, on top of that. The New England Patriots are very heavy about, hey, if you want to get paid, cool, see ya. You want to win Super Bowl, stay here.
So it's interesting. By the way, I don't love the rankings on
I don't either.
I'm just not a huge fan of the rankings here. I mean, this 7th, that doesn't make a ton of sense. 60 receptions, 1,000 yards.
That ranking thing right there doesn't actually quite translate well. Yeah.
It's a little weird. But he's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's 4'5", 40. And by the way, he catches the ball over his shoulder. Guess who doesn't catch the ball over his shoulder? Quentin Johnson.
That's great.
He does a great job of tracking the ball that way. He really, 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 really does. And again, I wanted this guy too.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like the problem is with Johnston is that he wants to get the flashy catches, he tries to do the flashy catch, the one-handed and stuff like that. But before we get too much into here, I had a thought on Harris before I forget about it. The biggest thing that I like about him is that he actually blocks, and I think that's what Harbaugh wants. He physically gets in there. He commits to the play, even if he's not the one catching the ball.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Outside X receiver. Again, we might have Williams for one more year. Well, he's only a 1-year contract anyways, I believe, right? So, but again, dude, he's good, dude. I think, again, he's kind of crazy. 2-star recruit. And, he's just done a great job. Catch point, natural hands, elite ball tracker, physical, savvy. He had some injuries, if I remember correctly, as well, too.
Violent finisher? Is this him?
Yeah. I need to add that to my online dating profile. Huh? I'm a violent finisher.
Brings a dog mentality. That's right.
Proportionate body, right? Yeah. But a lot of people talk about his route tree, but again, they don't have a very deep route tree there. They just kept it fairly simple. Yeah. Anyway, so I just think there's a lot to be said about him. I'm a big believer in him. I think he did a great job. I think he's a good pickup. I wouldn't have thought he would be the guy. By the way, one last thought. They were panicking. If you watch the thing, they were panicking because they didn't think he was going to be there. Or our next person we're going to talk about, Jamari. They were like, "Oh, we should trade up. We should trade up." And John Spanos was like, "No, relax. We're good. Yep. We're good. They'll be there. They'll be there." And they kept wanting to trade up and trade up and trade up, and they didn't. And they stayed there, and then their picks were there available with them as well. So it shows you John Spanos is doing a great job of also being the next face of this organization, which I think is exciting. Yeah. So, anyways, I just think there's a lot to be said about that.
And it's an interesting thing too. And I don't know if like Dean Spanos is possibly kind of stepping down a little bit, because when they did pick players, if you watch some of the videos, they said, "Hey, here's our owner, John Spanos."
Yeah.
And they gave it to him. And I was thinking, one of the 4 owners of this team, but is he now really becoming the voice and the younger voice to this team? So it's an interesting thing that how that's going about. But once again, John did a good job of basically being one of those angels on their shoulders. Remember, and Chad Alexander talked about with Joe Ortiz earlier in the week about talking about, hey, he's that angel on his shoulder reminding him about things. And John Spanos is doing that thing too, to keep everybody chill and don't need to feel like you're going to need to jump the gun to get this guy kind of thing. So, but I'm excited about it. Good pick for the wide receiver group for sure.
Yeah. Good point.
And are we going to strike lightning twice in the second round for a pick? And I think we definitely can. And by the way, T. Higgins did get drafted in the second round too.
Ooh,
so there's connections with that. So
nice.
I'm looking at him like T. Higgins, basically. So
yeah, a lot to be said about that. I mean, I'm a huge fan. So
I love it. It's a great pickup. So moving on to the third round here, guys. So what do we do? We got some butt and gut.
Straight up.
Amari Caldwell.
Let's go.
Round 3, pick 86, University of Oregon. We got another duck on the team here, boys. Quack, quack. Once again, he's going to play that Poona Ford type role. It's not like Poona Ford got a ton of sacks or anything like that, but this is a bigger body guy than Poona Ford, in my opinion. This guy's going to add a lot of bulk to this team in the run game. He's going to just be a disruptor. That's his game all around.
Yep.
And he's just going to push the pile around, move people back and forth. I feel like he does a pretty good job of pushing people back into the quarterback pocket. So once again, if our edge group comes in there and just crushes them, or a linebacker or whatnot, Jamari Caldwell is just going to be a space eater, absolute space eater.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah.
The one thought that I had with him, though, a lot of boards like across the internet, PFF, Draft Buzz, all that stuff, they had him at like 120 or something like that, so like getting him at 3 was a bit of a stretch in a lot of people's minds. And I was thinking that was this is the only pick in the draft that I really kind of was like, I'm not sure if this was the right time for it, but I mean, I'm good with it no matter what, though. Just throw that out there, But
yeah,
at this point, I really wanted an edge rusher at that point, someone to replace Bosa and to really do that. But hey, if he can be the Jamal Williams of our generation now, then I'll take it, like that. But I didn't see it in the RAS score either, because he actually had like a 4 or something like that for his RAS. Of course, maybe they just didn't give good measurements for him or something. So. But I'm I'm on board.
Derek Harmon. That's Derek Harmon.
That is.
No, I know. I'm showing this for a purpose.
Okay. I'm like, bro. Okay, what's this? What you got, bro?
So what I was saying is like Derek Harmon got all the flowers, right, for the line.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like, so I would just say this: Jamari was sort of the sizzle, but not the steak. Derek Harmon was the steak. He was the one getting the sack. He was getting the tackles tackles. But if you go back and look at what he's done, in fact, I'm not even sure. Actually, let's go back here. Let's go back to because I pulled him up as well too. He is very good, and he did really well when he was at Houston. So let's look at his full player statistics. And this is the part that I think is really interesting. And I showed this on my video I did on him after the draft. But look at what he did in Houston. So he had 7 sacks in his 2023 season with Houston, and 2 in 2022. Remember, he was a 0-star recruit.
Yep.
Yeah.
0-star, like pretty much a nobody, and he went to a JUCO, transferred to Houston, did great, went to Oregon, had a great season, but notice he had 0 sacks.
Yep.
And a lot of what he did helped Derek Harmon look good, right?
Yep.
So you can make the argument that, well, Derek Harmon's like here, but Jamari Caldwell's like right here, right?
Yep.
And so in a weird way, you're sort of splitting hairs. But what he does exactly is what Minter wants: double teams, block destruction. I said this a zillion times on the video I did with him. He wants to disrupt that line. Just put his nose in the middle of everything and just smash whatever they want to do. They're going to hit A gap, crush the A gap. They're going to hit the B gap, crush the B gap. That's what he's going to focus on. But he's not a 2-down back or 2-down defensive lineman. Or sorry, he's only a 2-down defensive lineman. He will not play 3. So then they'll put the speed rush team in. They call it NASCAR or whatever they want to call it. Jet, lightning, whatever. Whatever the thing. But that's it. That's what this guy is, dude. And look, Poona Ford was very good. Now, is Jamari Caldwell going to be as good as Poona Ford? I wouldn't expect that immediately, but that's the hope. So
and I think this also speaks to something that we've talked about a little bit on the show before, is that the stats they only tell part of the story. It's like, sure, you can use the stats to kind of give a baseline about how good a player is, whatever. But in a lot of ways, like, he could have been the reason why the other player, Harmon, was performing better.
Exactly.
So it's. Yeah, it's only tells part of the story and stuff like that. So you can't just rely on stats.
Well, and Joe Ortiz talked about that too. He said, hey, look, like we kept looking at Derek Harmon's videos and we're like, wow, who's this other guy over here?
Yeah.
This guy's killing it. And so once again, Jamari Caldwell's picked up to be able to basically make other people look better. Think about TR Tart next to him. Think about, Deshaun Hand. Think about, let's say, Perriman, let's say all these other guys on the team, basically making everybody else look better because he's opening up gaps, filling gaps, and basically destroying their offensive line, essentially allowing the other players to be those dogs. That's what he's going to be. And I'm all good for that. I am 100% into that. Yeah. And going back to last season, we got burned over 150 yards on the ground, I think about 5 times last year.
It was mostly at the end of last season too.
Cannot do that. I mean, as a perfect example of how our season ended, we got destroyed through the run game too. So,
interesting thing about that too. I had a thought. It's gone now. Shoot.
It was that interesting, dude.
Yeah, it'll come to me. It'll come to me.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it will, man. You're getting old, man. So it's,
my God,
you gotta. Hey, make sure you take your ginkgo biloba for the show too next
every morning. Grandizer, please don't upset me. I see you seeing my questions. What your question now, Grandizer?
What question?
We got you, dude.
Here it is. Yeah, here it is.
Oh, what was I going to say? I know what it was. It was when Thule came to the league. And what he kept saying is he did a lot of the not so sexy things. He would fight a double team so Bosa would come free, or Khalil Mack would come free. So he would take on a double team so Bosa or Mack could get that sack, right? So, that's what I wanted to say. That's the unselfish play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Grandizer was asking, besides wide receiver, which position do you wish the Chargers would have double dipped in? I mean, they actually essentially did that with the defensive backfield in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
You could argue at the end, but
Yep.
I actually like that they double dipped the wide receiver for sure.
They already did that. Yeah.
I honestly, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with what they did.
Yeah. I feel like they did good. I mean, a running back would have been another one just thinking after if they decide to move on from Najee, but I don't think that their idea is like, hey, we need another guy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have Kamani Vidal if he develops further. But I think right now, I can't think of another position other than maybe edge, but that's about it. I kind of do wish that they did go with a linebacker too. There was a linebacker, Chris Paul Jr., that I was pretty interested in later in the draft. That ended up going to, I believe, the Rams. He was kind of a guy, a little bit of like a Deion Henley type linebacker. He could play coverage. He does a very good job of dissecting the plays, run stopper kind of guy too. But I kind of do think that they should have added a linebacker. But
I kind of think that they double dipped in the correct areas, wide receivers and defensive backs. You know, like I mean that was actually a primary area of concern, I think, for me. In my head, I would kind of think maybe get some a defensive end as well, if anything, too. But I mean, they kind of did though too. They got defensive tackle and an edge rusher, which is kind of can do both sides of there. So I don't know, positionally wise, I think they did absolutely what we needed to do. Period.
Yeah, and I think good point. People saying, hey, Oboigbe was a bit of a project. They didn't draft the project this year. In fact, I kind of look back at Justin Oboigbe. I think they might have learned a lesson with him that get a guy that's NFL ready now, or as NFL ready as you possibly can be. I don't know where Oboigbe sits this year. I think he's going to have to really earn a spot, especially with how many people they brought in and all these other guys. Like he's going to struggle, that. Again, he does a great job. You watch what he did in the preseason games. He did great. He was not bad at all. Yeah. So I guess my point is I feel like all the positions were fine. They just sort of spread out good players in every position and then can add some depth to those positions in general. And then also a lot of these players played a lot of double positions, right? Cornerbacks played cornerback and safety. So I like that. You can't just be a one-trick pony and be a Charger, in my opinion.
Agreed, man.
Actually, hold on a sec. I think there is a trend here with the Chargers. We got Harbaugh, Ortiz, Herbert, Najee Harris, Trey Harris, Hampton.
H.
They only like H names. Yeah, H last names.
What is happening here?
Wait, what's going on? We're gonna have a whole team of just H names. Yeah.
So I'll never get drafted, is what you're telling me. Hey, by the way, everyone, again, throw your grades out for the draft. Each just an overall grade. Mine was an A. James, Kyle, what are yours?
I'd have to feel A. I mean, I would love to give it A plus, but you need to know how many players actually really work out. And in the last year, if we hit on 40 to 50% of these picks, this is going to be a great draft. Once again, second great draft this year with under Ortiz.
I want to say I'll probably throw out an A minus, I think, because I'm all for it. I think that they did amazing. And I think the sauce is all going to matter from this point on, from round 4 for the day 3 picks are the ones that are really going to determine how good of a draft this was, in my opinion. So Kyle Kennard,
we got a Kyle.
Let's go.
Yeah. So round 4, pick 125, Kyle Kennard, University of South Carolina, the edge player. Now, it's pretty cool. SEC player, he's the SEC player of the year, right? And what was interesting too, and I didn't put this in the slides, but the players that actually won the SEC player of the year is a pretty beastly list. It is actually Kyle Kennard, who won it in 2024. Previous year is Dallas Turner. 2022 and 2021 were Will Anderson Jr. 2020 is Patrick Surtain. 2019, Derek Brown. 2018, Josh Allen. Roquan Smith, 2017. Jonathan Allen, 2016. it is a very big list of very quality players.
Yeah.
And for us to get him in round 4, Kyle Kennard, dude, it could be an absolute steal for us in round 4. I don't know why he got to that point.
Yeah.
But this guy could be an absolute just gift to the Chargers, essentially.
Yeah, it's crazy that he fell to the 4th round for us, because he was also ranked much higher on PFF, all these different boards and stuff like that, so he was an absolute steal. I mean, look, as the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and the Nagurski Trophy winner, like, dude, I mean, he's got all the laurels to back it that he should have been a much higher draft pick. And so this guy could be solid. I may have to just get his jersey just because his name's Kyle.
Yeah, dude. Well, and I'll say this, all the players that have won that award were first-round picks. And
there you go. Good point.
He was a round 4 pick. I mean, when I watch his stuff, I mean, people that talk about him, they say, hey, he's a twitchy, high motor, productive edge rusher, good size, super long arms too. He's had 24 career sacks at 2 stops in college. I mean, he's going to be a good addition. And once again, he's not necessarily needed at this moment, but it's one of those guys that you're allowed to basically grow for the edge room. I mean, once again, Khalil Mack's a year-to-year guy at this point.
Yeah.
It's Tooley is a guy that's going to be going into it now his 3rd year. So build up that room. And I mean, Kyle Kennard, I think, could be an absolute steal for this team. I'm excited about it.
This is a good question here. Would you have drafted Jack Sawyer instead of Kyle Kennard? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Just because we wanted to get a jersey that said Sawyer on the back of it, because that's our last name. So we wanted that. So, but that's just a complete biased answer, of course. Yeah. But dude, Kyle Kennard is a stud muffin, dude. And I didn't really do a lot of work on him, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's really good. And you look at what he's done, man. I mean, look at this: 11.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 28 tackles, and 20 solo tackles. Where's his full stats? Oh, I don't see his full stats anywhere. But again, he played. What was the other school he played at prior to this? Gosh, I'm trying to blank.
Oh, it was
Georgia Tech.
So I was gonna say, you know what I really should try and do is I should wear his jersey and try and sneak up onto the field and be like, no, I'm Kyle. I wouldn't be.
Exactly.
I am Kyle. So.
Yeah, but again, I mean, good rip move, big football IQ. I think he's going to be good. He's a little smaller. That was one of the things. His pass rushing needs to develop a little bit more, but I think you'll get that from Khalil Mack pretty easy.
Yep.
And again, to stack and shed, right? Ken got playing a little too high. Those are all things that can be fixed, right? That's probably why he dropped. But ultimately, dude, again, he's what, 254. That's not that much. I don't know. To me, that's not very. He could probably put 10, 15 pounds on pretty easy, at this point. But
easily, yeah.
6'4", man.
Well, I think Bosa was like 280, right? So that's kind of why, we're kind of like biased on that, But I mean, he could put 10 pounds on, maybe 15 pounds on him, starting to eat better, get that the Herbert, weight room, another Herbert, another H name.
Yeah. Well, and even to say Tuli Tupelotu, he's about 267 pounds too. So it's not like he's far off. And once again, I don't think he's necessarily needed as a number 1 starter at this point. I mean, we got a pretty good room right now of edge guys, but I'm interested to see what kind of juice he brings to this team, man. Like I'm real interested about it. And once again, it could be one of those guys that could just be an absolute steal for the Chargers. And actually Khalil Mack's even at 269 pounds. So it's not like he's far off.
Yeah. It's weird that they make that big of a deal, like 5 pounds. It's like, I guess that's my point, right? Like you're kind of splitting hairs to some degree.
Pennies. Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know. I don't really feel like that really matters, but his production was amazing. So we'll see what he can do.
I will caution the fact that Chris Rumpf was also a 4th round pick. So, however, like Chris Rumpf was drafted into a situation where we already had Bosa and we had Melvin Ingram for a while, so like that we already had like established players there, but right now the room is open, and the way is paved in front of him because Khalil Mack's not going to be there forever. So,
Nope.
Yeah, Walt says that Khalil was 252 when the Raiders drafted him. That's about right.
Yeah,
exactly. I guess that's my point, right? Like I sometimes think like in anything else, it's like James and I are in sales, right? You want to talk, or you want a guy that knows how to talk through a conversation and have conversations with people. You can't teach that to some people, right? It's the same thing with this, right? He has the traits. You let Ben Herbert work with him and get him on a nutrition plan, play some better competition. James and I talk about this all the time. When you play against better players, you get better. When you play with weaker opponents, you're better than everyone else, but we're grading you against weak opponents, right? So I think that's kind of one of the things I would say.
Big time. But I think it's honestly a very, very good fit. And an interesting thing too, when they did call him and talk with him, they said, hey, you know what? Our special teams coach, Ryan Ficken's pretty excited about you too. And the reason why is like, he's probably, once again, he's not a day one starter for us. He's going to be a guy that's going to be filling in maybe the third or the fourth position of the edge room for us. So let him develop under some vets. He's going to learn from some vets. He's going to get a lot of special team reps, earn his rep at this point. So, but I think it's going to be a good potential long-term pickup for us now. So I'm excited about it. So, but moving on to round 5, what do? We did a little double dipping. Let's go get a little double dip. But once again, I got my Justin Herbert jersey on right now, right? The reason why is because give him weapons. Give him weapons. Allow him to cook. Give him the ability to basically be his best. If you go back to even say the Bears and how like what they did with Caleb Williams, I mean, they have struck out on 3 high picks, essentially. I should say 2 high picks. We don't know what Caleb Williams would be. But what they're doing is they're building up that team to make sure he has many weapons as he possibly can so he could succeed. Same thing for Justin Herbert. They are building up the offense to make sure that he can succeed. And so what do? They went round 5, pick 158, Keandre Lambert-Smith, wide receiver from Auburn University. It's an absolute burner for us. An absolute burner for us. This guy, and once again, going back to Andrew talked about earlier in the video, this is the guy that's going to push Darius Davis. And Darius Davis is a smaller guy, but got speed. But once again, a 6 foot, 189-pound guy in Keandre Lambert-Smith, a guy that can be very, very much downfield kind of threat kind of guy for us, but also could be a threat in the, kick return, punt return type game too. Route running does get changed a little bit with him. He's kind of known a little, I believe, is more of an X guy than anything, but a very lean frame. But I think he will be very, very good for us special teams wise and basically be an extra field stretcher for us. So this wide receiver room has got a lot of competition once again, competitors as well. So.
Which is exciting. Well, actually, even the next pick I think is really considered more of a wide receiver. So in a weird way, I think we triple dipped wide receiver. Anyway, we'll talk more about that after this one. But but yeah, this is a good point here. Today was pretty. He looks better than Rice. Guys, I don't even know if when I said that there's going to be some cuts that are going to be shocking, that might be a cut. That might be a cut. I just don't know. Now, I'll just say this one thing. Let's say this guy does take Darius Davis' spot for whatever reason. Davis would probably get traded. You would probably trade him somewhere. You'd probably just move him somewhere, and we'd get something for him. So we say, hey guys, we're shopping him, whatever. And then I'd say, dude, like you got Darius Davis on the board. Like, let's go get him, but again, a lot can be done in that time, but we're stacking talent. And this guy, by the way, the Chargers loved him. Did you watch the video of Sanjay Lal coming in and everyone talking about this guy specifically?
Yeah.
They were gushing over this dude. So they clearly saw something in him that we probably don't fully know, but they were just beyond hyped on this guy. So I'm excited that he's there. So if Sanjay Lal's excited, that's a big sign. It's a big sign.
100%. Like, I mean, he like you said, he could be the upgrade of Darius Davis. And so this is making me think too, is like this year we might see both Quentin Johnson and Darius Davis pushed out because we got people that perform better. They could potentially perform better than all that, I mean, I get that Quentin Johnston has, he performed better his second year, but it was still lacking quite a lot. And so, we need reliability, I think that's, the number one trait that we need. So,
Yep.
Well, and I think a lot of people had him higher as well too. If you look at his numbers,
yeah,
he's 6'1", 190. Now a lot of people kind of knocked his weight.
Yeah,
you want him to be higher than that. You want him to be 200. His hands are a little smaller. His vertical was a little smaller. Bench was not great. I could probably do that, guys. Straight up.
225, 11.
Hell yeah.
How many set minutes do they have to do? Or
they just go. They just. It's not time.
Really? It's just. I thought.
I'm just joking. I probably couldn't do that, but at one point in my life,
you could do it. You could do it. Come on now, I believe you.
I could do 11 push-ups in 2 minutes.
I know for I know for dang sure you can't run a 4.37 though. Like
no, absolutely no way. No,
but pull a hammy again doing that.
But again, look at his receptions again. 50, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. Dude, 20. His receiving average is 20.
Yeah, it's basically 20.
Awesome. Yeah. What was Trey Harris's? I can't remember. Let's go back because I thought his was pretty high too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was pretty high too.
There we go.
Trey Harris, yeah.
Yeah, but the same point. But again, they both stretch the field. That's my point, right? Yeah, and again, that's the vertical threat that we needed. We have 2 awesome young vertical threats, and I think that's a big part of what we wanted, right? And so. Yeah, I love this pick. I didn't think he would be. I guess I didn't think about him a whole lot, but a lot of people had him higher as well too. I think a lot of people, and this is a good point by LOD. Everyone bags on QJ. QJ had 8 touchdowns last year, guys. And remember this. He had a lot of touchdowns at the beginning of the season. He just kind of tapered off at the end of the season. He was almost
when it matters.
Yards. Yeah,
when it matters more.
True.
It's like yeah, I mean, I get it. Yes, he had 8 touchdowns. He did much better, but he's still. I mean, I hate to say it, but I still feel like he proved himself unreliable towards the end of the season.
Exactly. So, well, I mean, a perfect example of the playoff game. It didn't even show up at all. It was Lad McConkey. That was pretty much it. But I mean, you can't blame it on him. You could blame a lot of different things that happened in that game and a lot of miscues and. You could even go to Will Dissly dropping a couple passes that could have been first downs, touchdowns too. And it's just a lot of little things like that. But once again, they have inherited players from another regime, and they're trying to bring in players to take over some of these players that they inherited essentially at this point.
And that's kind of goes into the point. It's like, I mean, these players that we just drafted could be the replacements for the previous regime.
Yep, exactly. So. I'm excited about it. I think it's a really good pickup all around, though. I like Keandre Lambert-Smith. I think it's a very solid pick for us. And, it'll be great to be able to see this. So now, to Andrew's point earlier, going into this one, which was a trade up to be able to get this player in round 5. We gave up 2 round 6 picks to be able to go to him. So we ended up picking up. It's Omarion Gadsden II, Syracuse University tight end. And so he was converted from wide receiver to tight end. So that's why when you watch his footage, you're like, this guy plays like a dang wide receiver. Guy is an absolute stud. I had a couple friends text me and said, you guys got an absolute steal. They're Syracuse fans. And they're like, this guy's an absolute stud. And Jim Harbaugh seemed to gush quite a bit about him too. Like they were hyped. I am beyond excited to be able to get this guy. Once again, a guy I didn't even have on the radar, period, as a tight end.
Of course.
Not a clue. Not a clue. And when you watch his footage, man, he is not a blocking tight end, but he is one of those guys that he will be a great target kind of guy for us in the tight end room. He's actually known as a slot tight end, so he'll play a lot more in that kind of zone, but he can work the outside edges and everything too. So this guy has big playability for this team all around. I'm excited about Gadsden as a pickup for us in the tight end room. Once again, to my point, I feel like the tight end room was not going to be as big as a necessity and high up on as a pick for us. I think Mason Taylor, when he came off the board, that's when they went with plan B at that point. But I feel like we have a pretty filled out tight end room going into this draft. And now you're getting a guy that could just be a big body, athletic type tight end, could work the middle of the field for us as a slot. I'm excited about it. I think Omarion Gadsden could be an absolute steal for us.
Yeah, but and they didn't need a blocking tight end. You already had Will Dissly.
Yep.
You already had oh my gosh, what's the other guy's name? The other blocking tight end we have.
Conklin.
No, Conklin's he's a good
Fisk.
Yeah, Tucker Fisk, yeah. So Tucker Fisk and Dissly are the two blocking tight ends, and then you have Conklin, who's a good pass catching and blocking tight end. This guy's more of just a wide receiver. So that's kind of why I say he's really a wide receiver. And you look at his statistics, I'm telling you, man, like he's very productive. I mean, look at this. 73 receptions, yeah, almost 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Again, 12, almost 13 yards receiving average, right? 40 time is pretty good. I mean, for a guy this size,
for tight end too, actually.
Yeah, that's very good, right? Yeah. So now again, his production wasn't great. I guess the argument is he only had one good year, one really, really good year.
Sure.
Yeah. But these guys weren't on the board. None of these dudes were on the board at that time. I don't think Gunnar Helm was. I don't think Mitchell Evans was at that time either. But I think this guy, again, he fits the pass catching wide receiver or tight end, or I should say wide end, very well.
Yep, absolutely. I'm excited about him. I mean, once again, he's top tier on the 40 position too. If you look at in the green there, he's 85 percentile too. His span is at 90 percentile. He has got arms for days. Like he's got length to be able to work with. And to be honest, man, like it's not like he can't just figure out how to basically learn to block. I mean, he's got good guys in the room that are going to teach him how to block too.
Yeah.
I mean, he could just be a nice growth type tight end for this team. And he's got pass catching ability, which is what you want to see. Now we could just figure out how to teach him how to block a little bit better. And he could be a guy down the road for us. But once again, I've had a lot of people reach out to me about Syracuse fans, and they said this guy is an absolute home run for you guys. Like, so be excited about this pick for sure.
I think this guy and Jamari, in my opinion, are the two perfect examples of system fit type of draft picks, right? Yep. They got what they wanted with him because he can be the tight end that catches the ball, right?
Yep. Right.
Works the zone, right? A little bit better at that regard. And Jamari was the same way, right? He's not really he's the sizzle, not the steak, right? But he does a good job of busting up the offensive line and destroying the, play, A gap, B gap, whatever. Yep. That's his whole point, right? Collapsing the pocket. This guy, and both those people might not fit in everyone's system, right? So we valued them very high for us. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out because I do think that's probably why we picked him up. And again, his highlight reel is crazy, guys. If you haven't seen his highlight reel, you're like, damn, this guy, he's a wide receiver, dude. He goes deep.
Crazy.
And I mean, so I guess let me land my plane. He's a vertical route wide receiver / tight end, more of a wide receiver than a tight end. So I think that's great.
That'd be awesome.
Well, thank you, Miguel.
Well, and I think, but James really just kind of hit the nail on the head though, too, is like the fact that Mason Taylor and Loveland were gone. Like, it's like, okay, let's just kind of go deeper into the draft and all that, and from seeing what we've seen, like from all these different drafts and like the best production from a lot of these tight ends, you don't need to get a tight end in the first round. Like it's not necessarily a good strategy as far as money goes either, because you don't want to pay first round draft pick money to a tight end.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, and that's kind of goes into the point. There is one of our resident super fans here, YDCFF, he talks about that as well. It's like, look, the draft, it's all about money too. It's not just about player ability and player stats and all that stuff too. It's all money ball.
Yep. Yeah. And the one thing I'm going to say about Gadsden too is that I think that he's kind of reminds me a lot of what Stone Smart was. He was able to go out there and he made some phenomenal catches for us last season with Stone Smart. I think we just get a slightly bigger body kind of build guy that's more built like a wide receiver, but a good slot position guy for us too. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a really good pickup all around. And yeah, I mean, to Kyle's point, yeah, I agree because I said that. So yeah.
So I'll comment on Walter. Yeah, he said you don't trade draft capital for Gadsden. I would argue this. By this time, they have picked everything they've needed in the draft period.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think you needed anything more at this point, right?
Exactly.
We already said that we needed those four main players, right? Edge, defensive lineman, yada, yada. This was probably the last cherry on top that we needed. Everyone else is just
icing on the cake.
The cake.
The chef's kiss. And
exactly.
At the same side, it's like, okay, we gave up a sixth. You know, it's really just, we only gave up one extra pick that we had.
No,
it
was
two, but technically that's a one for two, you know?
Yeah, and 2 for 1,
yeah, 2 for 1, 2 for 1.
Whatever. But it's 6th round pick, you know, like it's not like it's not like we're giving up 4th for him, you know, or like, you know, it's a higher pick, you know, or a future pick. So I think it's totally fine that we got him in 5th, you know, for 2 for 1 there.
Well, but to your point though, he does exactly what I think the Chargers needed, right?
Exactly.
He's a wide receiver that is a tight end. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the difference. I guess remember what I talked to you about? I talked about this all last year. Why don't we convert Simi Fehoko to a tight end? He was a tall guy, add more weight. He's a very good blocking wide receiver. But that's what this guy is. I think he's really just a wide receiver that is also a tight end. So I guess my point is he's a bit of a hybrid person. He fits the need, and I think that's really, you know, where he needed to go.
Well, and to the point, in the individual who chatted about, I think it was Walt in the chat, he says, hey, you don't give up draft capital to trade up to get a player. Okay, that could go in a lot of different ways to where
the Chiefs did it like 6 times.
Year.
The Chiefs did, I think, 5 times this draft.
Exactly. I mean, Ladd McConkey last year, we traded up. Yes, we kind of have more of a swaps of picks in a sense with that. But at the same side, it allowed you basically to get a player that you really, really wanted to have on your team. And to be honest, it's like, do you really
wide end?
Or do you need 4? Yeah, he's a wide end. Do you really need 4 6-round picks? And I mean, that's a lot of picks to deal with. I mean, I remember when I was doing those short little videos, I'm like, holy smokes, this 6th round is going to be an absolute nightmare to get things rolling on all these videos and small talk about all these guys. But then they traded up to get Gadsden. And I think it's a great pick. And I think it's a good, solid pick for allow him to grow under some really good tight ends that could teach him a lot too, especially in the blocking game. The wide receiver ability, the catching ability is there.
Yeah.
Just let him figure out how to block.
Yeah, and Philip said something perfect here. And you're actually summarizing this probably better than I even said, for sure. Bottom line, leadership success starts at the top. We've always had plenty of talent. What was lacking was quality leadership, GM, and HC level. We finally fixed that. Again, remember, we picked up a lot of players in free agency. So we didn't have any major glaring needs, right? You don't want to go into the draft saying, I have to get a guard. I have to get a tight end. That's when you start trading up to get somebody like that, right? Now they're, as you said, luxury picks. You're just picking players that you want to get. All right, this guy's great. And we got 19 people in undrafted free agents, and you guys are gushing all over Raheem Sanders. Probably should do a video on this guy specifically. Everyone's
I know everybody's amped on that guy.
So, but my point is, you know, I guess my point is, I felt like 10 picks was a lot, and I think trading up, that was a fine offset in getting the guy we want. And I think he fulfills a great need. Guys, he's a wide receiver. I would just think of it that way. So
I agree.
Correction. He's a wide end.
He's a wide end. There we go.
Wide end. He's a wide end.
Cornfred,
dude.
Yeah.
So where we went from this point after trading our picks at round 6, pick 199.
Yeah.
Chargers select Branson Taylor, offensive tackle from Pitt. And dude,
this guy's
size, big. Just absolute size. 6'6", 315, 82.25-inch wingspan. That is massive. Good foot speed, good hand usage. He's known as a tackle, but he has played guard. So he's basically a guy that could kind of flex back and forth. If you look at everybody on our line is designed to basically go up and down where they need to put you. Either it's going to be center or guard, or it's going to be center guard tackle for you. They're going to move players around quite a bit. Now, obviously, we know Slater and Alt will not play center, but at the same side, if they need to play guard, I'm sure they could push them to guard if they want to. But they are designated tackles. But anyways, Branson Taylor, you add this guy, say, the left guard. I mean, there's a lot of competition in left guard going into the camp. You have 2 massive individuals on the left side. You have 2 massive individuals on the right side. this O-line is just going to get massive all around. So I'm excited about the Branson Taylor pick. It's going to be, once again, competitors welcome, trying to get that whole guard situation figured out. So, and a lot of people out there have said, hey, this could be a good depth piece and a potential starter at guard long-term. So I'd love to see it. Another 6'6" guard out there. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. And he had some injury issues, if I remember correctly. Yeah. You know, like here, I'll show you. I couldn't find him on this other. Let me see if I can find him in that
this guy I think is Corn Fred for sure.
Oh yeah, you know, I think he's Burger Fred. I think that's what it is.
Let's see here.
But well, I say this though too, is like he's clearly going to be able to give Pipkins a run for his money. I think that could really be the move here, is that he's going to be able to potentially take over Pipkins' spot pre-June 1st, you know. So if that's the case, you know, then we can save a little bit more money, you know, like then we can have some other people around. It would be nice to see if that happens or not. I mean, we don't really need the money anymore, but you know, we just know Pipkins is just like, he's been good, not great for us. And so that's, you know, we just might need to change there. So
yeah, and this is part of it too. And again, this is beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I mean, again, 6'6", 321. Sure. Big dude. I think his arm length was a little low. That was kind of what they were talking about. Mm-hmm. Again, you know, not the best. Okay, good. You know, again, just good, just productive. And I think a lot of people are like, well, you know, whatever, you know, more of a developmental guy, right? And again, I guess that's also partially what I was getting at as to with the tight end, is that at this point, you're kind of just taking a stab at somebody. You're like, okay, we like this guy. Can we coach him up to be better? Can we coach him up to be the right type of player for us? Yep. But look, he looks good. I mean, they hyped him up. They said, man, this guy plays super physical. He's a big dude. He moves bodies, and that's what they wanted. So, you know, you can't say anything bad about him, you know, in that regard. But, you know, anyways, I think production will be key, and he'll have to fight for a spot in camp. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the one thing too, like, and to the point, I think it might have been Walton there says, you guys need a guard. How about trading Dylan Parham Raiders to you? He must be a Raiders fan, I assume. Mark Davis. So the thing about it is, like, I look at it like this. Our biggest issue was the interior O-line, you know, with Pipkins, with Bozeman, with Zion. We end up going to get Mekhi Becton. That's a great right side of the line. What does a good guard do for the guy to the left of you? Generally makes him better. Same thing for the guy on the right on you. Mm-hmm. Guarantee that Bozeman, Andre James, Zion, whoever's going to be the starting center for us is going to be very solid for us. If that left guard situation gets worked out, I am promising you this line will be absolutely a stone wall, allowing basically Najee Harris, allowing Omarion Hampton to run. It's allowing Justin Herbert to stay upright. It's going to be wild. But once again, that Mekhi Becton pickup was the biggest pickup for this offseason, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. It's going to make that O-line so much better all throughout, just for that pick alone. Everybody's job will be much easier from this point.
Yeah, and there's a lot of competition in all those spots, right? So that's where it's, you know, interesting. I will let with this one last thought. We have so much, I think, on our offensive line. We didn't need to draft more. That's why in my mock draft, I think I picked up too many people on the offensive line personally. Having said that, that also means we have draft capital or capital for trades, right? Joe Ortiz and Alexander said this specifically. Hey, we're still talking. We're still talking to people. So people might not like the guards they got. Maybe they work them out for a while. Like, oh man, I don't know. You know, well, maybe the Chargers will move Pipkins to us, or maybe we can go get this guy back, right? But we got 3 people that could potentially be center for us this year. So I'm just saying we probably didn't need a center, and the center grades were very low. I mean, Majors even get drafted. I don't even know where he got drafted at all.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that too. You know, so, it's funny.
Yeah.
To see that.
Majors and honestly, I was kind of surprised. Yeah, Jake Majors,
undrafted with the Bucks. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. And guys, he was the number one center in the draft. Yeah. So my point is, like, you know, and again, Andre James, again, he played center, he played guard. So he might be guard. He might be the left guard now. And then Zion Zion could even be the center. And then you might have Andre James as the left guard. So who knows?
I mean, even Bozeman could be the left guard and Zion as the center. It's just, the thing is, though, there's very much pieces that they're going to be working out at this point. Even to say if Andre James doesn't work out, let's say he is, to your point, Walt, hey, he is Cheeks. Okay, cool. We signed him basically. we signed him to a very low contract, and it's a contract that you could let a dude walk if you wanted to, too.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. I feel like we'll be perfectly fine. If Bozeman ends up being the center any which way, that's fine. He's got Mekhi Becton to his right. He doesn't have Pipkins on his right anymore. And once again, Pipkins could be a left guard if you want to push him over there too. And Jamari Sawyer's even still on the team too. So it's not like you got plenty of guys to work with in the interior.
Again, remember, I did say that those were the three main people that I thought could be traded on draft day. Right. Yeah. Working into it. Now, again, that's when probably things will start happening now. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, right? It's going to be exciting. I think they're going to make some major decisions. I mean, look, this is where camp is going to work everything out.
Yep, absolutely. So, moving on to the second pick in round 6, pick 214. Chargers select RJ Mickens, Clemson University safety. We have double dipped in the Clemson crew, by the way. And we even got some undrafted free agents, by the way, too. So, interesting thing about him, he is a free safety, nickel, and box safety kind of guy. 6 foot 199. He has the ability to be moved around. That's in the Jesse Minter defense. Multiple roles, and he's adding depth to the secondary all around. Versatile backup, good special teams upside also on top of that too. Once again, good player all around just to add to a team. And once again, Clemson did have a good season last year. I think they went 10-3 last year. So there was a lot of pull of players and a lot of talent that came from Clemson. So RJ Mickens, I think it's a good one all around for us. But what say you guys?
He's a legacy pick. He's a son of a veteran, and so he's out there. He's got the ability from another player, and dude, this guy's he has a pretty good grade. He had a 77 on PFF, so he's gonna 100%. He's gonna start in special teams right away. I can't see him taking over for Alohi or Derwin James or anything like that, But I mean. Let's just hate to say this, but Derwin James is getting up there in age. His time with us is probably coming closer to an end, and so we do need to start to address that future, void that's going to be put into the Chargers hole, team. So. I don't know if he's going to be the replacement for Derwin James by a long shot, because absolute legend of a player. But we'll see what happens. I'm excited for this guy. I do enjoy the pedigree type of players that come from previous great players and stuff like that. But we'll see. I could say that we have seen kind of busts in that situation. So just saying.
Yeah, it's not a lot of players come out playing like Derwin James from round.
Yeah, I was going to say
definitely. That's a huge stretch. No, but that's I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's going to be a Derwin James replacement, but I'm just saying is that we need to start looking at that direction and looking into the future.
Well, and you think about what Elijah Moulton brought to this team too, and that was a guy that we picked up late in camp too. Traded him off for basically what it was like a 2026 6th-round pick or something. Might have been a 7th-round pick, and the guy performed extremely well. Derwin James is a guy that is an absolute one of the top safeties in the leagues, and still, even to this day, is still a great leader on this team. But at the same side, I view the Elijah Molden as the mold of a player that the Chargers love to have too. A gritty kind of guy, gets after the ball, puts his shoulders downfield to basically be a run support guy, just a gritty player all around. And, RJ Mickens kind of had some shades and I looked at him a little bit almost like an Elijah Molden type things too. So I'm excited about to see where he goes from here. and what he does. And I remember Alohi Gilman's on his last year of his contract too with us too.
True.
And this guy, by the way, it's so funny. This is all wrong. Here's his workout combine. I don't know. It's just kind of funny to me, but yeah. But look at this. He had a lot of years with Clemson. So, and again, he just got better and better every year. And so, look, again, at this point, you're picking talent and ability, right? Again, 6 feet, 200 pounds. Not the highest ranking, but look, he had good stats, right? 7 passes defended, 76 tackles. You hope he can turn into something more. He'll probably be more of a special teams guy, is what he most likely will be. But his weight is a little bit low. His hands are a little small, so baby hands pickets, but again, look, like it is what it is. I mean, the next 2 picks are just really probably special teams players more than anything. But we'll see if they can work their way into a starting rotation.
Yep. So by the way, like this comment right here is Electric Shock Podcast. That is Coach Defense, if you guys remember him. He's rebranded his show to be the Electric Shock Podcast. So if you guys haven't already, in the chat, go ahead and you go subscribe to his show. He does a lot of good stuff, and he's one of our good friends of ours. So yeah,
he's awesome.
Awesome, man.
Good to see you, Coach.
Good to see you, Coach, man. Yeah, most definitely. And I've checked out your guys' show too, man. So it's good work.
All right. This is gonna be interesting.
Super radness with an exclamation point.
Nice.
Thank you for the super chat. Yeah. Brandon Rice. Woo, boy, he's got to earn a spot. That's the point.
Yeah, he's got to compete. Got to compete for it. It's not guaranteed.
I mean, you look at the room right now, and we drafted 2 wide receivers. You ain't gonna cut those guys generally.
Not right away.
Round pick, you're gonna keep them there, right? So now you look at it and say, okay, Ladd McConkey, Williams, Quentin Johnson, you got Trey Harris, you got our other guy, a 4th rounder here. So you got 5 guys right now that are like the starters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting tight on that wide receiver room. So I don't know, man. I mean, Brandon Rice could be practice squad guy. He could be cut. Who knows? We'll see.
It's going to be interesting. And the crazy thing is he did well in camp last year. He just, I don't know. It's really it's weird. It's kind of mind-boggling as to why he never really got anywhere.
For a lot of these guys, undrafted guys that are on the bubble, they have 4 games this preseason now to basically prove it. And that 4th game, that Hall of Fame game, July 31st. By the way, we are almost we're to think about July 31st. What it was that my math is correct. It was 3 months away now at this point. We are almost 3 months away from football, guys. And training camps are happening right now, or I should say off-season training camps, conditioning camps are happening right now. So they got to prove it. They got to prove it at this point. So we'll see. Spots get pretty limited.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Moving on. Last pick, round 7. 256, second to last to Mr. Irrelevant.
Not so irrelevant, right?
Not so irrelevant, exactly. So we go with the round 7 pick. We double dipped a little bit in the backfield position, but we ended up going with, is it Triquizzy Bridges, I think is how you say it? Triquizzy Bridges?
Triquizzy Bridges, yeah.
Cool. University of Florida.
Cool. That's good. Take it. We'll take
whatever.
it. Wait, are you really gonna accept Andy's pronunciation of this guy's name?
Absolutely. Triquizzy Bridges, dude. Come on.
That's what it looks like. I mean, I don't know.
That's what it looks like.
But it's funny because somebody in the comments when I did a short video, they try to say, hey, this is how you pronounce it. I'm like, close enough. Triquizzy sounds good too. We'll call him Tri Bridges. I'm gonna call him Tri Bridges.
Or T Bridges. T Bridge.
T-Bridge. We're going to call him T-Bridge. But big thing about him, too, he's one of those guys that's very mobile all around. Cool thing about him, he is a very moldable piece. He was known as a safety.
Yep.
Then he got put into the star position, and then he got put into the cornerback position. When they put him in the cornerback position, University of Florida seasons tend to, get for the better all of a sudden. The guy was playing very well as a cornerback and a star position. He also has some speed for him, too. This guy is kind of one of those guys you take a flyer on, a guy that's a movable piece all around. He's going to be a very good special team guy for us at this point. 6'2", 196. Awesome. I love it. And I mean, it's all about his traits that he's currently got right now. And I think he's got some traits to become a good piece to this team. So maybe we're going to strike. Lightning is going to strike twice again, and we hit on a couple guys that we could add in the backfield. I mean, once again, height 6'2". I love that. I love to be able to see that.
100 pounds, yeah.
And I'll say this just as a last little piece. Asante Samuel Jr. here is not here because of size. I think that's really what it is.
Yep. And it's got to be,
tackling ability is big.
Going into that thought, like you think about this. Okay, so we got a tight end, and we got these receivers that are at 6'2". Asante's at 5'11", right? When a receiver jumps, if they got a jump ball, whatever like that, there's going to be at least 20 inches higher in that jump, and then they got their longer arms, so they're even going to be higher so it's at least another foot there, so you're talking about another like maybe 36 inches, the ball's in the air. And if you got a guy who's 5'11", he could probably have some jumps too, but it's not going to be able to like get that gap, there, it's like to really disrupt the ball or something like that, so this guy T Bridges, he's going to be solid, man. Like, look, and like, just like you're saying, like you get them as they are right now. Right now, he's a 9.16 RAS score. So he is a physical. He's an elite. He's a top tier like physical phenom. Look at that 4.43 as a defensive back. That's great. It's going to be awesome. And he comes from a great school, the Gators and the SEC. Good program.
We didn't get any small schools either.
No,
so
we really didn't. Yeah. Which also on that thought, real quick, a little slight tangent. I'm surprised we didn't get a single Michigan player. That's my biggest shocker this entire draft. I was like, wait, really? Yeah.
Yeah, but 2 interceptions, 5 passes defended, 69 tackles. I think this guy suffered from getting moved around all over the field too. I think remember when Derwin James was moved around with Brandon Staley, aka BS. He was like, there comes a point where you just have to pick a position and play. Now, he can probably do zone slot, nickel safety, all this other stuff as well. But the question is, should he? And so again, sometimes coaches can kind of monkey around with people. I think there were some other things that he did. He didn't perform well. I think the combine, and also I think his pro day wasn't awesome, if I remember correctly. But again, his weight is a little bit lower, they say, and his vert wasn't the best. Look, he's a special team guy. Like the last 2 guys are special teams players, right? They're going to be gunners. They're going to be specifically focused on that. So they'll make the squad by doing that. If they can show they have value in special teams, they'll be fine. But again, it's all you got to do is make the team and do your best, and that's 90% of it.
So think about this: like, you signed Dante Jackson, you signed Benjamin St. Juice, you got Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart. I'm just looking over the whole backfield right now. Dean Leonard.
Yeah, show us the screen. And Dean Leonard's amazing, by the way.
Yep.
He's an awesome special teams player.
Yep. I mean, it is a very, very filled out room here. I'm trying to pull it up here real quick. But what I'm saying is that there is a whole heck of a lot of competition going on with that backfield. Yep. There is a ton of competition back there. So let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. All right. That seems a little bit better for you guys.
There you go. Here.
So once again, Dante Jackson, Dean Leonard, Benjamin St. Juice. This is a left cornerback. Then you basically got R.J. Mickens, Elijah Molden, Alohi Gilman, Tarheeb, Jasur, T-Bridge,
T-Bridge,
and then Cam Hart to the Benjamin St. Juice. Like, there is a lot of filled out backfield with this team right now.
Yeah.
Very, very filled out. So once again, these guys got to show out somewhere or another. And even to say RJ Mickens basically potentially taking Alohi Gilman's position, which would be wild to think that happens, but anything's possible. You got to bring the juice, right? You got to bring that juice, slow feed don't eat. So they got to go out there and make things happen in camp and show out. And I do think the value of having all of these players out there and 4 preseason games is going to be massive for a lot of these guys. massive for a lot of these players.
Well, because if they don't make the team, they could get looked at by other teams as well too. There is something to be said about playing for Harbaugh. We went to the playoffs last year. We need to make the playoffs again, and I promise you, teams want to come play here.
Yep.
But here's the one thing I'll say too. One last little thing, for sure, is that our offense has so much depth on it that Herbert doesn't have to do everything anymore, right?
Yeah.
I truly believe last year he pretty much just had Latiti McConkey as his wide receiver. QJ was okay, but Palmer did not play great. And I just felt like, and then again, Disley wasn't, he's not a pass catching tight end, right?
Yeah.
He now has all the weapons you'll ever need. The defense was already stacked, period. And I think it just got better this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think the defense is going to be top 5, and I think the offense could be top 10. If that's the case, sky's the limit for this team. I truly believe that we're going to be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's crazy, even to say, looking at the depth chart of the offensive side of things too, you got 2 very solid physical backs immediately right there.
Yeah.
Depth of the quarterback doesn't really matter too much. Justin Herbert's a stud. Like he's going to be a rock for you too. Mm-hmm. It's interesting when you see the wide receivers, you don't even show the wide receivers that we even added, Trey Harris and everything too. But it's funny, but you even to say with a set of wide receivers, Ladd McConkey, Michael Williams, Quentin Johnston, and just Trey Harris, that's a pretty good 4 wide receivers to work with. Like different skill sets that they could add to it. Now, where are they going to be slotted as? Where's Quentin Johnston going to be slotted in this situation? What if Trey Harris really shows out in preseason and he could be the 2? Mike Williams is 3, Quentin's the 4. Where do you go with him at that point? Do you feel you want to keep him as a 4, or do you want to think about trading him off? Like, there's a lot of things here. Keandre Lambert-Smith too, like putting him into there. Do you put him more as like the 4 and then Quentin's the 5? I mean, there's so many things that could happen here, guys, but it's a very filled out room right now with wide receivers. Even Jalen Reagor kind of coming back around. Like Darius Davis, like you could only put so many players on a 53-man squad and so many for one position room too. So it's crazy to be able to see what's happening. This camp battle is going to be awesome to watch. There's a lot. To me, wide receiver and the O-line, interior O-line is going to be 2 of the positions of absolute like awesome battles going on there. So it's going to be good.
So I think this is a good question here. Do we sign Slay again? I would love that, but I just don't know that he has a spot on this team right now.
Yeah.
That's my heartbroken answer to that question.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in that same boat. Like, I don't see us getting him for the season. I see us maybe getting him if we end up in the playoffs and we need some more help there, to have some reliable hands and stuff like that, maybe, or maybe a midseason thing. But that's it. Like, I mean, maybe we sign him next year for a 1-day contract and then retire his number, something,
Yeah.
And I don't think he's at the retirement zone, in my opinion. I was kind of saying if he wants to go back to LA, I could see him finding his way to the Rams. And I could totally see him being there too. Now, the day prior to or day before the draft, Keenan Allen did put some stuff on his Instagram kind of talking about like God has a plan for me. God has a plan for me kind of thing. And like it'll all work out kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think what that was like, hey, look, he probably had a conversation with the Chargers. Chargers saying, hey, look, man, we're going wide receiver. We're going to go pretty heavy on wide receiver. So we probably don't have a plan for you kind of thing. You're not in the plans at this point. So at this point, yes, Electric Shock podcast, dude, doubtful at this point. I mean, I just don't see it happening, but if it happens, that it would probably be like, I mean, you'd have to think about Quentin Johnston at that point if there's a trade position with him at that point. So
yeah,
but I think younger is the way, and that's what David DeConnick is actually saying in the chat. I think it's pretty much just where they're looking to get younger, get players that fit well for what Harbaugh wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've just been reading some articles on the side here, trying to figure out, what happens with Allen. But guys, there's 2 more wide receivers in that room that's already, stacked. I wouldn't say stacked, right? I mean, QJ is a little, he could be better, but you're never going to have a perfect team, right? I'm sorry. That's the thing about the NFL and the salary cap. You cannot just continue to stack teams. It's so funny. I was watching the draft. These are the people that left. These are the needs they have. Every team, even the Chiefs and the Eagles, had people walk away that were very good that went to other teams. It's one thing I have always liked about the NFL. You cannot just stack players. Yeah. And so, look at the freaking Dodgers right now, man. They're the best team in baseball by like a long shot, right?
Thank you for admitting that.
Well, they have a stacked team. I guess that's my point, right? But they're also spending more money than anybody else. But the reality is, like, you can't really do that in the NFL. Nope. You have to, you just can't stack players. So I will say this, though. We did sort of shadow stack players last year by putting people on the IR. Because if you notice, our IR list was just getting longer and longer. I'm like, whoa. True. And then we just kept scooping up people on other teams in waivers. I didn't see other people do that as often as we did it last year. But maybe that was just they wanted to bring as many people in for competitors welcome kind of conversations.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, we talk a lot about that as well.
I was going to say one more thing about the Keenan Allen situation. I mean, even to say if he doesn't end up getting picked up by the Chargers, I think it's very, very slim chance that happens. I think he could go to the Rams if he wants to stay in LA. What if he goes back to BS and out in with Kellen Moore out in New Orleans? Like, I could totally see that happening.
And boy,
man,
he's his boy, right? And even to stay with the Chiefs, I know Electric Shock brought up the whole thing about like, oh man, just don't sign to the Chiefs. Well, I heard that J.K. Dobbins is possibly looking to get into the Chiefs too. So I mean, it is what it is, guys. But once again, you could only like focus on all these players signing somewhere here, there, or whatever. Focus on what you can control, which is the bubble that you're in, which is the Chargers. And to be honest, I think we have a really, really good stacked team, a team that it just got better from this draft in a lot of different ways. You got a lot of young talent that is actually injected in this team too. And players that Harbaugh and Ortiz want. Second year with them. If we could hit 40 to 50% of these picks, that's phenomenal. Shout out to NFL Mike. He actually pointed one thing about the first round and the percentile of picks that actually make it work. I think the Ravens were one of the highest drafted teams where first round picks hit. And I think it's at like 40 something percent or whatever it is.
That's pretty good.
Even to say the average is like 25 to 27% of the times they work. But once again, if you could get in that 40 to 50 percentile range, dude, you're having home run drafts after home run drafts. So, and I feel we do got some guys that are absolute dogs that fit well for this team.
Yeah.
Going into 2025. So,
and thanks so much for the super chat there, Pappy, man. Super appreciate you. Yeah.
Dude, looked like you had a great time over there.
Yeah, it sure did.
Event for the season ticket holders. That was probably an amazing time.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said. But again, sky's the limit for the Chargers. And again, iron sharpens iron, folks. These players, I'll give you my final thought. We have a lot of talent on this team. And I think you said we have 92 players on this team, James?
Something like that, yeah.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm curious I'm curious what happens. Or I think that's why we might see a player get moved. Maybe after the draft, you might see Zion Johnson get moved. You might see, Trey Pipkins get moved. Whoever, we'll see how that plays out. Because teams are going to want linemen. Maybe they didn't get the guy they wanted. Maybe a team's like, crap, I need a tackle, and I don't like this guy as much as I like maybe Pipkins. You get my point, right? You could easily trade off some of those players and then open some spots up for the rest of the people as well too. So, anyways, I think there's a lot to be said about that, but we just got better. That's exactly what Joe Ortiz said. That's exactly what Chad Alexander said, and I really agree. The team just got better, and the draft went exactly as I wanted it. Now, you may have, like I said, move it around a little bit different ways, but yeah, I'm just happy with this team, man. We're gonna be good.
James, can you pull up the undrafted list again?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna just kind of go into that. We'll talk about a lot of these undrafted players in the future, but. As far as this list goes, of course, the one name that we actually jumped out of is not even on this list, though, but he's the basketball player.
Yeah.
So we got some roots, some Antonio Gates roots here, can bring those vibes back to the team.
Jimmy Bell could be that guy. Jimmy Bell
could be the guy. And it's all about It's all about what's in here and what's in here. It's not always just about physicals, you know. Like, I mean, the people that are on this list absolutely have the chance to become Hall of Fame players because they got their shot. That's the biggest thing right here, you know. Like, you know, a lot of these people, like, obviously, like, they didn't get drafted, and that doesn't mean nothing, you know. All it knows is they got a ticket to the show now. So they can actually make it out. And a lot of you guys are kind of screaming at us about Raheem Sanders. So that might be our first or second little video that we do some deep dive on, you know. So, but these guys, hey man, sky's the limit for them, man. That's and Andy's been saying it. So yeah.
One thing I'll say too, the undrafted free agent situation, how it works. As soon as the draft is over, undrafted free agents have the freedom to negotiate and sign contracts with any other team.
Yep.
So
it becomes like a mad dash for who can call who, you know?
It's like the stock market, you know, whatever. So again, everyone's eligible if their name's in, and then right then that's when their agents are making calls. Okay, hey, we got this guy, we got this guy. But again, as soon as the draft concludes, it's just crazy. It's just a free for all. So I like it, right? And I do think that there's going to, and again, the interesting thing about that too is, and I think about this about undrafted free agents, they're going to go to a team they think they can probably make the team, or maybe they like the coach, or maybe they have a reason to go to there for some particular reason. Maybe they're not as deep in cornerbacks or wide receivers or whatever, you know. But that's what's going to happen, and it's going to be really interesting. I always love the undrafted free agents. Everyone likes the underdogs, anyways. But yeah. There's some good names there, so we're going to do videos on each one of them.
You know, but even to say the interesting thing too, the reason why I think maybe that they came over to the Chargers is because they have 4 preseason games too. So it gives a lot of these guys at least field time out there. You're going, like, honestly, the Hall of Fame game is going to be just 4 stringers probably out there for the most part, but that's what these guys are. They want to basically show that they got some footage of them being on the field and making plays. And, you know, go back to when Austin Eckler found his way as an undrafted free agent that, you know, Anthony Lynn didn't even know his name up till basically the last game of the season where he balled out in the 4th preseason game against the Niners. So once again, it's about getting that time on the field. And if they could find a way to basically stick on the team through 4 preseason games, maybe find a way to make a couple plays. Think of what Tony Jefferson did last year in the last preseason game. Showed out. Obviously, Tony Jefferson was going to find a way on the team one way or another, but he needed to show. And so I'm excited to be able to see what these players could do. But the drafted players and undrafted players, it's going to be fun to watch. So I can't wait for the season to go. 3 months away, guys, till the first game. So to me, starting probably training camp will probably start middle of July at that point. Now that we got a 4th preseason game. So I'm excited about it, guys.
Yeah. Interesting point about Tony Jefferson too, right? Well, we got 2 safeties that might be pushing him as well, you know. Exactly. So, and Tony Jefferson's fantastic, but he's getting older, right? So you have to ask that question: how much you know treads left on that tires, right? So, anyways, Kyle, final thoughts?
Yeah, man. So like again, my grade for this one I think was really, you know, like an A- for sure. Like obviously we got to figure out who's going to be who, like, and how good of, you know, really the first 3 drafts that kind of, like, I think it's all weighted, you know. The first 3 picks are like usually like the ones that matter the most because they have the chance to start now. But then if you can find those gems in that day 3, that'll be fan-freaking-tastic. So I'm excited to see what we got. Like, and 3 months is going to come a lot faster than we all realize. So
love it.
It's exciting. It's great. It's good times. We'll keep you guys informed as much as possible. And Bolt Bros, let's go.
Yep. And Pappy, we are going to be at camp. We've already been talking to the director about it. Yeah. So we're trying to figure out time to come out with the director for sure.
We got to get the wristbands again, dude. That was a great time, dude.
Oh yeah, Pappy, you got to hook us up. You got to hook us up.
Here's a thought though, guys. let's see if our fans can help us get ourselves into the content studio at the Bolt. So we can campaign right now to get the Bolt Bros at the content studio for training camp to do a show right there. That'd be amazing.
Love to do that. Absolutely would love to do that. So
Yeah,
let's get that. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen, boys.
Let's make it happen. Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, boys. We ready to rock and roll? This is a longer show, but it was a lot of content to cover, guys. So we're very excited about the team and everything too. But let's get out of here, guys. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, Boat Bros. Let's go.
Let's go.
Boat Bros. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching the Boat Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up, Boat Bros on the night.